The first light of morning streams through the wooden windows of their house, casting everything in a warm, golden hue. The air is mellow, soaked in the scent of wood and the lingering earthiness of dew. Inside, Diep sits at their small dining table, cradling a cup of ginger tea between her hands. Her fingers rest lightly on the mug, feeling its warmth seep in. Her mornings have slowed since becoming pregnant, each movement deliberate, as though her body is speaking a softer, slower language now. She takes a steady breath. There's a gentle serenity to this moment, a quiet fatigue, but also a calm that brings a gentle smile to her face. This is her rhythm now, unhurried and peaceful. Then, a subtle sound cuts through the tranquility. Something scrapes across the yard. She narrows her eyes, lifts her chin to the window. The creaking noise, punctuated with a grunt, is deliberate, persistent. That's James, she thinks. There's no mistaking that sound. Stepping outside, she moves slowly, her hand dropping to rest on her belly. As she emerges, she sees him, sleeves rolled up, hair tousled, dragging long wooden planks from the back of their old truck. Beside him, little NHI bounces with excitement, arms raised, as though orchestrating the entire operation. The world outside feels warm, alive, humming with possibility. James glances up the moment he sees her. "Good morning, love," he says, voice unusually light but tinged with nerves. "Did you sleep okay?" she asks, offering a small smile in return. His response is honest, but strained. "I did. Just not a lot." She nods, accepting that quietly. Before she can respond, NHI grabs her hand and tugs her forward. Her eyes sparkle with excitement. "Guess what?" NHI exclaims. "Uncle James is making something for the baby." Diep turns to James, warmth spreading across her face. "Really?" she says softly. James runs a hand through his hair, a little self-deprecating. "Yeah," he admits. "I want to build a cradle. Something special. From my hands, from our home." She feels her heart soften. This is not grandiosity, not showmanship. It's deeply personal. A token of love, a promise to their child before they even meet. Relief floods his features, and she clasps his arm gently. "That's beautiful," she tells him. But the moment is interrupted gently by a voice behind her. Turning, she sees Quynh, carrying a small basket of fruit and herbs, her expression amused. "Beautiful," Quynh teases. "But can he actually do it? Last time he built a table, it shook every time someone sneezed." James groans, and NHI bursts into laughter at the memory. Diep tries to suppress a laugh too. She steps closer, laying a calming hand on Jameis' arm. I trust you, she says. The words are simple, but she watches him straighten, as though she has just awarded him a medal. He clears his throat, trying not to sound too proud. I've watched some videos, read some things, he says, hesitating. Quynh raises an eyebrow. Reading instructions? She asks, surprised. Since now, he replies, firmly. Nhi stands upright and salutes him, solemnly. I believe in you, Uncle James. He reaches down to ruffle her hair, his cheeks flushing. Thank you, soldier, he says. Diep sits on the porch step, folding her hands in her lap. She watches the scene unfold. The smell of fresh wood, the soft sunlight warming the yard, Nyi's endless chatter, and James, who looks like a man about to build a cathedral, not just a cradle. For a moment, everything feels impossibly gentle. James starts organizing the planks on the ground. In his mind, he imagines a perfect arrangement, but reality is less neat. The boards shift and slide down the gentle slope of the yard. Little Nhi rushes to help, pushing them back into place, chanting, 1 plank, 2 plank, we are builders, with serious delight. He crouches low, squinting at a board he's measuring. He closes one eye like a seasoned carpenter, drawing an invisible, perfect line in the air. Straight line. Baby deserves perfect line, he raises the saw, and Quynh immediately steps back. Everyone be careful, James is using a tool, she says, half joking, half serious. Mum, Diep laughs softly, I want my daughter-in-law and grandchild alive. James doesn't respond, but his focus doesn't waver. He begins sawing. The early strokes are disciplined, steady. Then, without warning, the saw slips slightly. The line veers. His breath catches. No, 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 he whispers, agitated. Straight line, straight line. Diep rises, moving toward him carefully. Honey, she says softly, it's okay if it's not perfect. He sets the saw down, shoulders sagging. There's a faint look of heartbreak on his face, but I want it to be, he says. I want the baby to have something really good, something I made with my own hands. She reaches forward, but he's already standing a little straighter, reminding himself of something. Wait, he says abruptly. The instructions. He hurries inside, leaving pages fluttering in the breeze. He returns with diagrams and printed plans, gripping them firmly under his elbow as he flips pages against the wind. Diep watches him, tenderness and concern softening her features. The sunlight falls over his face, highlighting a crease of stress on his brow. You don't have to push so hard, she says, quietly. He pauses. I'm not pushing myself. I'm focused. Quynh leans in and whispers to Diep, he's pushing. Diep exhales slowly, feeling the tension between pride and worry. She senses the quiet pressure James has built around himself, and for a moment, worries he may be overwhelmed. She steps forward again, more determined. Let me help, Diep offers. Let me hold the board. He freezes for a heartbeat, surprise and hesitation flickering across his face. No. No, you shouldn't strain yourself, he says. I'm just holding, she insists gently. Still torn, he wavers. She reaches out, fingers brushing the wood. Another moment of hesitation. Then she moves the board. Diep, he says quietly, his voice shaky, please. I can handle it, but she is already helping, her hands steady and warm. She meets his eyes, and for a second, she sees something unexpected there, not frustration, not anger, but fear. Real fear. The fear of not being enough, and she realizes, he isn't just worried about the cradle. He's carrying something heavier, the weight of wanting to provide, of wanting to make something lasting, of wanting to be a father who builds something that matters. He straightens, tension still in his posture. I really want to do this right, he says, voice low. For you. For the baby, she softens in response. I know, she whispers. I'm not trying to take your part away. They both pause, but something has shifted in the air, a misunderstanding, a small distance created by their good intentions. NHI, watching them, becomes still too, sensing the quiet strain. The breeze moves through the yard, rustling leaves overhead. But between James and Diep there is a stillness, not cold, exactly, but suspended, fragile. I wasn't trying to take over, Diep says softly, lowering her hand. I just want to help. He swallows hard. It's not just that. I want this to be something real. Not patched together, not half done. I want our child to grow up knowing that I tried, that I gave my whole heart to it. He gestures toward the imperfect board, the scattered tools, the pile of wood. Sometimes I'm not sure I can even control it. She watches him closely, recognizing the fear behind his determination. You're doing something good, she replies, voice gentle but firm. He breathes shaky, as though he's been holding his breath, and then suddenly pulls himself up. Before she can speak, a calm, steady voice cuts softly through the tension. James. It's Quynh, already holding a piece of sandpaper. She takes the board he cut and begins smoothing its rough edge with slow, deliberate strokes. This is how your father and I used to work, she says, not looking up. Eyed sand. he'd cut. Some things aren't meant to be done alone. Diep feels something loosen inside her, as if a small knot she hadn't noticed has finally begun to unwind. Huyen's voice continues, warm but firm. Trying to do everything by yourself doesn't make you strong. It just makes you tired. James lowers his head, absorbing her words. The weight of his self-inflicted pressure begins to melt away. He looks up, meeting Diep's eyes, and she smiles softly. "You're not taking anything from me," she says quietly. "You're loving me. That's different." Huyen passes the now sanded board back to James. "Try again," she says, gently. He glances at Diep. She nods. He steadies himself, positions the board, and asks, "Ready?" She holds it firmly, her hands warm and sure. He begins again, slow and deliberate. The saw moves more carefully this time. The cut isn't perfect, but it's straighter. "Better." NHI cheers, clapping wildly. "Teamwork. Family teamwork," she shrieks, and the tension breaks. Laughter ripples through the yard. In that moment, everything shifts. The anxiety, the perfectionism, they fall away, replaced by a shared rhythm, by cooperation, by the soft beauty of building something together. James continues working with newfound care, refusing to hurry. Diep supports him, holding each piece steady. NHI decorates scraps of wood with tiny stars and hearts, announcing them as early designs. Huyen hums as she sands joints, smoothing every rough edge. There is no rush. No pressure. Just family. Just the gentle, steady rhythm of hands shaping love into wood. Every so often, James glances at Diep. She catches his eye and nods, offering a small smile. At one point, she stands too quickly and wobbles slightly. He reaches out instantly. "Hey, easy," he murmurs. "Sit down for a minute," she obliges. He helps her into a chair, brushes a strand of hair from her forehead, and kisses her softly. NHI leans against him, whispering to Huyen, he's still a worried rooster. Huyen simply nods, amusement and love in her eyes. As the afternoon sun begins its slow descent, the cradle begins to take shape. The frame stands upright, not symmetrical, not perfect, but solid, warm, and alive with intention. They stand together, the three of them, James, Diep, and NHI. The cradle is modest. One side dips slightly, the paint thickens unevenly around joints, and a newly placed sticker on one rail sits crookedly. But in Diep's eyes, it's beautiful. She steps closer, letting her fingers trace the wooden edge. The imperfections are not flaws, they are memories, evidence of effort, and quiet love. James hovers behind her, nervous. What do you think? He asks softly. She turns to him, her eyes brimming with warmth. I think it's perfect. He exhales, relief washing over him. He relaxes in that moment, his shoulders softening for the first time. He wraps his arms around her, and she leans back into him, one hand gently resting on her belly. NHI climbs into Diep's lap, as if the cradle has already become their center. The yard seems to hold its breath in the gentle golden light. Diep whispers to James, words full of quiet gratitude, every corner, every part. I can feel how much you love us. He presses his forehead to her temple. I just want to give you both something good, he says. You already do, she replies, voice soft. Every day. He closes his eyes, letting her words sink into the places he rarely speaks of, the hidden recesses where fear sometimes lingers, where he worries if he's enough. As the sun dips lower, painting the sky in amber hues, they carry the cradle inside, gently placing it in the living room. The wood gleams softly in the fading light. It feels as though it belongs there, like it was always meant to exist in that home, in their life. NHI stands beside it, proud. Can the baby sleep here tonight? She asks, hopeful. Diep laughs, a soft, warm sound. Not yet, sweetheart, she says. Oh right, no baby yet. But soon. James reaches out, smoothing Yi's hair, his hand lingering on Diep's back. Thank you, he whispers. For helping me, for letting me. She turns, smiling. Thank you for building this with me, she says. Then he kisses her cheek, slow, warm, full of everything that words cannot say. Outside, the orchard rustles gently in the evening breeze. Inside, their wooden house glows with something new, not just a cradle, but a memory carved in wood, in effort, in love. Tonight they didn't just build a piece of furniture. They built something deeper, a family bond, a promise, a shared creation. In the imperfect lines, the shaky cuts, and the small misunderstandings, therein lies the true beauty. Sometimes, things that are not perfect matter the most, and so James and Diep finish this chapter of their life, not with a flawless cradle, but with a perfect memory, their hands shaping love together. Thank you for sharing this tender chapter with them.